When was the last time you thanked a vet for serving in war? My speech will cover very heavy topics such as substance abuse, suicide, and homelessness. If you are sensitive to these topics, please leave. According to the War Horse, General George Casey Jr. sat in a meeting about protecting soldiers' mental health during wars. The only problem was, no science was proven behind their tactics and often made them worse. Iraq and Afghanistan wars had a fluctuation of PTSD in veterans and at home. Being in a foreign country certainly did not help. PTSD was gained from objects, noises, and just simple actions. War is extremely hard on families as well. If you lose a loved one during war, how would you feel? Next, I'm going to talk about rates and impact. This is going to be the part where I talk about homelessness and suicides. 150,000 troops from 2001 to 2008 were sent to Iraq and Afghanistan each year up until 2008. From VA's reports, which is a Veterans Assistance Program, it would take 8 years to study cognitive training in protecting mental health. Also from VA's reports, 2005 to 2014 reports show that 21 to 22 vets per day committed suicide. 530 of those suicides were Texas and Florida, and they were the highest states. 55 to 74-year-old suicides were most common in vets. 70% of those vets had access to a firearm, and their suicides were 22% higher than normal U.S. citizens. On average, as of 2019, 37,085 veterans experienced homelessness. But that was significantly lower than 2018, which was 37,878. 723 of those only 723 of those had shelter. And the VA generally doesn't cover mental health or drug rehab, and in some cases doesn't even cover housing. On average, most vets will likely abuse substances such as alcohol or prescription pills. Last year, it was reported that 1 in 5 veterans had a substance abuse problem and were admitted to rehab. This is according to samhsa.gov. Next, I'm going to talk about what kind of substances these vets were using and how they accessed them. Many substances include opioids for pain, alcohol, which is very accessible in the United States, heroin, which is a very easy and cheap drug to get, and methamphetamines, which is also a cheap drug to get. Heroin and meth is still lower than a normal civilian rate, though. Opioids have been more controlled since then, but still should not be heavily influenced. In conclusion, you should be grateful for what our vets have gone through for the United States. If you are asking on helping, you can donate to places like Wounded Warrior. And why should we acknowledge our veterans and soldiers more? Because they have a higher chance of committing suicide and having mental health than anybody. This is just a cry for our veterans.